Nice little intro music.
Lines are set, the odds are high. Every bet a test who will survive. Chase the stacks, outlast the crowd. Only the strongest left now. Who's ready to win? This is more than gambling. Let's start the show. It's last man standing.
Welcome to Last Men Standing, the Circa Survivor podcast. If you're new here, on this show, we talk all things Circa Survivor, the strategy, the drama, the intrigue throughout the season. There's a lot of intrigue right now because there's 10 people left fighting for $18.72 million. Unfortunately, today, I'll be without my right-hand man, Jason Anik. That's why you got a solo shot of me right now. But don't worry, Jason will be back next week. We look forward to catching up with him. Today, I'll be talking one-on-one with Galen Hall. Galen is a poker pro, 2018 World Series of Poker bracelet winner. But of course, today we're going to be talking with him in the context of Circa Survivor because Galen has 2 of the final 10 entries left in this thing. I'd say he's the envy of the Circa Survivor world right now because there's a lot of people who want to be sitting in his shoes. He is controlling the Dylan W and Gary A entries. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Galen. Galen, how's it going, my friend? Your first appearance on Last Men Standing. We're so happy to have you. How's your day so far, man?
Pretty chaotic. Nice little December day, but so far so good.
Just before the holidays, we've got Christmas coming up, which of course means a lot to a lot of people. But when you're in Circa Survivor like yourself, with the Dylan W and Gary A entries, when you're in Circa Survivor like yourself, Christmas has a little bit different vibe to it. So can you summarize for me just what are your thoughts and emotions as we head toward week 16 and that Christmas slate coming up as well?
Yeah, I'm feeling good about it. Ran hot to get here and hoping it continues, hoping I get a nice little Christmas present. I think that's going to be a pretty impactful day. So hope I make it there and hope it goes well.
Absolutely. We're down to the final 10, the final table, if you will. And you've seen a final table or two in your days playing poker. Assess for me your chances of winning this thing. You have 2 entries. So in a sense, you're the chip leader in that way, but those 2 entries don't have the favorites on Christmas. So just how are you feeling about your likelihood of taking this thing down?
Yeah, I feel, I'm a numbers guy, so the numbers are the numbers. I think my combined equity is just around 17% or so. I think most of the calculations you see online are not being done right. But with this few games left, there's not that much wiggle room.
Gotcha. And Galen, you're a young guy. You've had a successful poker career. What would winning Circa Survivor mean to you personally if you're able to pull it off?
I'm not a I'm not a guy that likes to really sort of hyper focus on any one thing. So I think it would speak sort of to the broadness of the number of different arenas that I've been able to have success in. From poker, I dip my toe in backgammon a little bit. I currently run a hedge fund as my day job. I won the Survivor in 2019. That was the year before Circa. That was like the biggest one there. So just trying to compete in as many arenas as I can.
I love it. And you mentioned that 2019 win. How many years have you been doing Circa Survivor? Have you been doing that since the start? And have you had any other deep runs in Circa Survivor?
That was the first year I did it. My friend Dylan introduced me to it, and then I kind of pretty quickly took a shine to it. So we've been doing it every year since then.
Gotcha. I wanted to ask you about the poker community's influence on Circa Survivor. They're well represented here in the final 10. I was having a conversation with Chris Moneymaker on the Saturday Night Sweat show, and I asked him, of your crowd of poker people that you hang around, what percentage, Chris, do you think are in Circa Survivor? And his answer blew me away. He said about 80%. And I knew the number was high, but when I heard 80, I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was that high. So I'll ask you a similar question of your poker friends around you, what percent are in this contest?
I don't know. I'm not really, that's also, no, that's a small selection of my poker background. Yeah, I mean, I don't hang out that much. I mostly just show up to the World Series in the summer. That's pretty much all the poker I play now. So, most of my friends are longer term people. I don't think many of them are participating in Survivor.
Gotcha. Okay. Helpful. As we look ahead, you locked in the Dylan W entry on the 49ers, so we know you're going San Francisco there. Last I knew, correct me if I'm wrong, you said Guerrier was very likely to be on Philadelphia. Can you talk to me about the spot that Guerrier is in, and what, for lack of a better way to say it, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but what are you waiting for? Is it injury situations, potentially other people in the contest announcing their picks? Could that influence you? Like, what shoes are you waiting to drop for Guerrier?
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes there's pressure. It's a really neat feature that Circa actually forces you to lock in your pick when you submit it. I think that's a very fun game theoretic trade-off there. You saw that. I thought it was worthwhile to lock in San Francisco early and, ride the variance of injury reports or line moves. So yeah, for sure, injury reports can move it. Dr. Bob released a bet on New Orleans today that moved the line about half a point. So stuff can happen, and also like you can get more information about Week 17 games, which can affect the strategies in certain ways. But yeah, mostly the main reason I'm waiting for that one is, I'm sure people on your show have talked about this previously, but when you get deep in a Survivor, there's a lot of explicit or implicit collaboration among the players, and it's usually the people with the best picks, the people with Houston or Dallas are going to play what they're going to play, and then the rest of the players can make up a lot of ground by sort of either explicitly or implicitly collaborating in a sensible way. So one of the reasons I think, like, sort of a lot of the equity calcs aren't right. Like I think most of the people I've talked to realize this already. It's a pretty sharp pool of people that are left just because of the way the contest has gone. Like when all the dogs went on Thanksgiving, and then the Tampa Bay loss got rid of a lot of the soft spots. There are a couple really catastrophic blunders of people who played Tampa Bay there. But so, everybody I've talked to so far seems pretty sharp, and I assume they get it. But like, the three Houston, it looks like they're 3 out of 10. They're not. They're 3 out of 5. If you're playing Dallas on Christmas, the only people that matter are Dallas. If you're playing Washington, the only people that matter are Washington. So you shouldn't compute or care what the other people on the other side of that game are doing.
Good point.
So there's, and then I'm kind of, obviously my one of my entries is a Washington entry, and so that the other one is the RIP Kansas City. Now it's either Kansas City or Minnesota, and so that entry is like a bit of a daywalker because it's playing both sides. So it's competing mostly against Dallas, but a little bit against Kansas City. So there's some subtlety there because it actually cares what people on both sides play. So the disaster situation we're trying to avoid there is that myself, Caveman, and Juicy Coochie all play Philadelphia would just be catastrophic loss of equity for the three of us. And then, that equity would just go right to the people playing Houston. So I haven't been able to contact Juicy K at all or get out. That's sort of the main reason I'm on the pod, is to sort of make sure. I'm sure they understand, and I would be shocked if they played anything other than San Francisco, but they're the only one of us three with San Francisco. It would be just a spectacular blunder if they did anything other than San Francisco. And, lest you think that I'm trying to talk them into a bad play, I myself am on San Francisco with my Washington bracket. But that's irrelevant for them, right? And as I said, like, either they're going to die or we're going to die on Christmas. So the fact that bracket's on Washington doesn't matter. So, I'm mostly just waiting because they really, really, really should play San Francisco. But if they showed up and did something else, we might have to deviate. Although that would be bad for me, bad for them, bad for everybody. I actually think the way the equities work out is we still can't. We just still have to close our eyes and play Philly. Unless Caveman is also going to play Philly, in which case it's better to play New Orleans. But so just really wanted to make sure that they totally understand that anything other than San Francisco there is torching it.
We'll make sure they see this clip for sure. I know they will. Anything else you want to say to any of your competitors, whether it's all, 8 of them together, or an individual person that you want to talk to and use this platform to speak to someone individually, or is it pretty much that Juicy K message that you wanted to get out?
Yeah, that was a key one. I mean, other than that, like I don't know. I watched a couple of your last pods, the interviews, just to kind of get a sense of the opponents. I don't know. They all seem like really nice, sharp guys. So
Yep.
hopefully, sometimes I got deep into Survive. The one I won in 2019. It's like some of the people you're trying to talk to, and they don't really understand what's going on. So it's kind of like, are they going to kamikaze themselves and you along with them? It's hard to have any kind of conversation about equity or chops or whatever if people don't really have the right methodologies for that.
Like a drunk person at the poker table who hasn't really played much poker in their life, they can cause a lot of havoc, right?
Yeah, maybe not a perfect analogy because I would welcome the latter, but not the. I mean, I would welcome the former too if I was sitting pretty with Houston, but I'm not.
Right. Got you. Good stuff. My last question for you, man. Can you give us some insight, Galen, into your process? Like I said, there's a lot of people out there who want to be sitting in your seat, and they're like, how did he get to where he is right now? So just give us some insight into how you make your decision every week. Do you have a group chat with partners? Do you make your decision early in the week and then watch the news later in the week? Like, how do you get from point A to point B every week?
I'll tell you what, like if I win, I'll come on and I'll give you the top to down rundown.
Okay.
On all of the different sort of fun little nooks and crannies of this thing. But yeah, to answer a couple, and I guess to answer a couple of the other questions people had too on the Twitter. Yeah, I mean, the decisions obviously I'm a part of a group. We have multiple entries. Though not nearly as many as some people seem to think we had. But the decision process is all me. Sometimes I talk to Dylan when I'm really close, and he's got a good sense of the vibe. Sometimes there were a couple of decisions that I talked him into, and he talked me into that both of us wish we could have done the other way around. Right. But yeah, it's mostly me, and then it's not really. There's very little subjective element. Everything is purely from the data, purely from the math. I have a bunch of models and things that I built myself by hand in 2019 and 2020 when I really started getting into this.
Nice.
And so, it's not yeah. I mean, I'm honestly, like, I'm finding out who some of the other partners I have are this week. So it's mostly just follow the math.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate a little bit of that insight there. I lied. This is my last question for you on the way out here.
Sure.
How many?
I got a few minutes, so we can keep whatever you got.
Awesome, man. Appreciate that. How many people do you think are going to sign up for this thing next year? We got a little more than 18,000 this year. I think it's obvious we're getting over 20, but I heard Brett Ritchie say, I don't know if you're familiar with Brett, but he said we could get up to 35 million next year. That felt a little high to me, but I'd love to see it. What's your prediction for next year?
I don't know. I mean, it also depends on, like, if they were to relax the constraint on 10 entrants. I think that would really juice the field a lot.
Yeah.
And mostly from ease. Like, I think a lot of people are willing to enter more, but I mean, I don't. I'm almost 40 years old. I don't have that many friends anymore. So, like, trying to find a bunch of people to sign up and drag themselves over, it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I certainly hope it gets as big as possible. Big numbers are fun.
The more the merrier. Absolutely. Galen, what do you think the chances are that deals have already been made in Circa Survivor at this point among your other competitors?
I don't know. I mean, I've talked to a number of people one-on-one, and I haven't proposed any deals, and they haven't asked me for deals. I did make a deal that was contingent on a certain game going a certain way. and we agreed to it, but the game didn't go that way, so the deal was
Okay.
off. But you know, I imagine like I don't know. I think like I mean, again, it's like a sharper pool, and people probably, if not have deeper pockets, certainly have access to capital. I mean, you know, like you get this deep, and somebody you're playing for more money than you've ever seen in your life, and you know, somebody offers you a really bad deal, you might take it to reduce the variance. But like for me or for the people left, it's not a problem to get down $1 million sports bet if you need to hedge some of your and it's also sometimes like, well, I guess maybe it's just because I have multiple picks, but like you can hedge certain outcomes with you know, pay a little bit of juice and put on like a 3-team parlay or something, and you can really eliminate a lot of the worst outcomes, and it's pretty cheap to do that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people are if people are waiting until after this week, and then sort of like right before and after Christmas. I think there could be a lot of deal making that goes down.
Have you thought about the possibility of a Commanders Cowboys tie on Christmas Day?
Yeah, actually, it did. That did cross my mind. I mean, you know, that would be the most. Well, it would be funny if there was a tie, and then the better of Minnesota and Kansas City just lost anyway. But yeah, that was certainly on my mind. Where I was sort of explaining to, you know, somebody was really excited that I had. This was even before Mahomes tore his ACL, but they were really excited that we had Kansas City and we're the only ones. They're like, oh my God, you're on an island. You know, what an amazing spot. And I was like, it's not as good as you think, because between Dallas, you know, if there's 5 on one team and 4 on another team and you're the only one, you know, you win it. Most times you win a 3-game parlay and you can, you know, you scoop. But when the teams are playing each other, you're hoping to win, and then you're guaranteed to be playing against 4, if not 5. Except for the tie. So that is there is that like 1% chance of a scoop. That's that would be pretty epic. Yeah.
All right, and then lastly,
obviously less likely now.
That would be an insane ending to an insane Circa Survivor season.
That would be crazy.
You brought up the Mahomes injury. I got to imagine that is the last thing that you wanted to see. On top of that, Kansas City's playoff hopes go down the drain as well. What did that do to your mindset? Obviously, you're happy that your 2 entries advance. That's the most important thing. But that had to be the last thing you wanted to see. So just talk to me about your reaction to that Mahomes injury and the Chiefs missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, starting on Thanksgiving, I've had, you know, $1 to $2 million of combined equity on, I don't know. I mean, the Eagles game, retroactively, the Ravens game, you know, like a couple of games after that. Once Cleveland lost, I had $1 million of equity on the Tampa Bay game, Tampa Bay losing, even though I had 3 picks on Tampa Bay. You know, and then obviously my team's surviving. So it's like, you know, you can't win them all.
Yeah.
So that was obviously, you know, that was a bummer. And that was a catastrophic blow to our equity. I think I saw people estimate $1 million. I think it was probably more than that. But you know, if you're going to lose that much equity on a game, might as well be one you don't have any picks on. I mean, you know, Minnesota could just win anyway, you know, and we're fine. And it's also like, it's not like that was a huge bummer, but it's not like it was all bad news. I mean, you know, Dallas got eliminated from the playoffs, so the line in that game converged, which, you know, if some of the Minnesota people, or if some of the Washington people get eliminated this week, could actually end up being a really high equity spot for us, like it was projected 2 weeks ago, when we were planning for this. And then you know, Minnesota seems like have turned around, so that line moved a couple points. And then, you know, not all is not lost. I mean, there is a pretty big, especially Kansas City's current rating is like quite volatile. So, you know, right now you're penciling in our equity for the Christmas game at 37%, which is what the Minnesota line is, but it's not, we don't have Minnesota. We have the best of Minnesota and Kansas City. So the expectation there is closer to like 41%, because, you know, everybody plays this next week. Things could go a bunch of different ways. You have the option value, the best of 2. And then even if we end up playing Minnesota and get through, Kansas City has could have quite a lot of option value in week 18. You know, they're going at Vegas. Vegas is trying to lose. So, you know, I've been gambling long enough to know sometimes something seems really bad and it ends up working out even better than you could have expected. So that's just kind of what the roller coaster is like.
Absolutely. We'll see what Kansas City looks like this week, because that's going to go a long way to determining that point spread the final week and all that.
I mean, if they look like garbage this week and they go out and lose to Tennessee, then okay, it's toast. But them's the breaks.
Absolutely. Hey, at the end of the day, they still got Andy Reid. They still got the best defensive coordinator in the league as well. I think it's just going to depend on, is that locker room playing hard at this point?
Yeah, and
it's that news,
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I spend almost none of my Survivor time like actually on football. Like I just take Vegas lines. I have a couple imputations, and I'm not like, oh, this team is good or that team's bad or whatever. I don't spend any time on that. But I'm a big college football guy, so I've always loved Gardner Minshew. So he was a real G when he was in college. So maybe he can recapture some of that old magic.
Maybe you'll be at the check ceremony wearing a Gardner Minshew jersey. We'll see. Someone said that on Twitter earlier this week. That gave me a good laugh.
If he brings it home for us, then I'd have to make that my first jersey purchase.
Absolutely. Galen, thank you so much for your time. Before we let you go, that public service announcement, we know you're listening, Juicy K. Galen does not want you on the Eagles, thinks that would be a bad idea for you and a couple other folks. And him and everybody. So I wanted to get that.
San Francisco, we can root for them together.
There we go. Perfect. Good stuff. Well, Galen, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck. I know these next few days are going to be massive for you. Best of luck. We appreciate your time, man. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.